Well, a short while ago, I spoke with Faleh Mustafa, the caretaker foreign minister of Iraq's Kurdish region. He gave us an update on what's happening on the ground.
The Kurdistan region remains safe and secure, and Kurdistan forces of Peshmerga are ready to defend the people and the region. As for Kirkuk, the situation is back to normal. Yesterday, there were some problems in some parts of south of Kirkuk, especially in Bashir, which is mainly a Turkoman area, and also Mala Abdullah, which is an Arab area. There, the Kurdish Peshmerga forces have defended the people in these areas, but the situation now is back to normal. We could have avoided these problems had there been a proper approach from the federal government. There has been no proper relationship between Erbil and Baghdad, especially since the beginning of this year, when the federal government cut the budget of Kurdistan region and stopped the payment of the salaries of the civil servants. Therefore, it's not just like that for Baghdad to call on us for us to respond to. Without the third party, without the Americans, we would not be able to do anything. Second, we have to sit down together to see what needs to be done, because this is not only a military situation, because this situation has come to being as a result of failure in the political process, failure to include the Sunnis in the decision-making and in the government. In the last few days, we have had over 300,000 refugees or IDPs coming from Nineveh and towards Erbil and Duhok. This is a huge responsibility, and we are facing financial and economic challenges because, as I said, Baghdad has cut the budget of the region since the beginning of this year. We call upon the international community to come and help us. This is way beyond the capability of Kurdistan regional government.
Well, joining me in the studio now is Tanya Goudsouzian. She's an Al Jazeera journalist and former editor of a Kurdish Iraqi newspaper. Tanya, good to have you on set. So let's start with what the Kurds are doing, because a lot of people are accusing the Kurds of taking advantage of the chaos elsewhere to finally take control of those areas that they really wanted, for example, Kirkuk.
Well, this is true. There are accusations from left, right and centre that they're sort of after the spoils of war. But this is something that Kurdish officials and Kurds in general have disputed and said, look, you know, the Kurdish Peshmerga are the only troops right now capable of protecting civilian lives. So they're basically filling in where Iraqi army have reportedly abandoned those positions.
But they've got problems in their areas because the other ethnic group there, the Turkmen, aren't happy with that, and there could be another ethnic conflict brewing in Iraq.
Well, that's the big question right now. Just yesterday, the Turkmen Front issued a statement saying that they were prepared to fight the Kurdish Peshmerga if they did not hand Kirkuk city back to the Iraqi central government. Kirkuk has been disputed for decades. I mean, since the 1920s, really. There's been a war over demographics between the various ethnicities populating the city. You've got the Turkmen, the Assyrians, the Kurds, the Arabs. All of them claim a percentage, that they constitute a percentage of the city. A Turkmen Front, it should be said, doesn't represent all of the Turkmen. That there is another party called the Turkmen Democratic Front that have traditionally been more pro-KRG, that have called for Kirkuk's annexation to the KRG. The Turkmen Front have traditionally been more anti-KRG. So
there's obviously a bit of chaos there. We saw the Kurdish Peshmerga taking on ISIL forces, but we also heard from Faleh Mustafa, the acting foreign minister, that doesn't seem to be a proper concrete agreement between the Kurdish forces and the central government. Are we going to see? Where do the Kurds stand on this conflict?
Well, there is no love lost between Erbil and Baghdad. They've had conflicts since, well, 2003, since the US-led invasion. Recently, there have been a lot of disputes. A couple of weeks ago, the Iraqi Kurds announced an agreement to export 1 million barrels of oil, I think it was, via Turkey. This was a unilateral decision. It angered Baghdad. There have been no agreements that have been disclosed between Baghdad and Erbil over the current crisis. We've been led to believe that the Kurdish forces are fighting to protect civilian populations, but right now that's all we know really, whether other deals are being made behind the scenes. I mean, Nechirvan Barzani, he's the KRG Prime Minister, was just recently in Iran on Monday, presumably to discuss, you know, the escalating crisis. He's come out with a statement saying there was pre-Mosul Iraq and there's post-Mosul Iraq. So the situation can never go back to what it was.
Is very, very fluid, isn't it? Tanya, thank you very much indeed for that. Tanya Goudsouzian there. Now, Iran says it will do whatever it takes to protect holy Shia Muslim sites in Iraq. Speaking near the Iraqi border, President Hassan Rouhani said many people are ready to take up arms to defend those areas. Early this week, Rouhani said Iran hasn't sent any forces to Iraq and it was very unlikely that it ever would.